This Sexy Stowe, whatever the hell it is, White Zombie. And that's still, I mean, as an adult, I can look at that album and say a lot of the music is very samey. Rob Zombie has a very distinct sound that he kind of goes with and he sticks to it. But at the same time, I really like his music, so I don't have a huge issue with samey. Oh wow. Looks like one of the Langmore's trailers from friggin' Ozarks.
Good morning everyone, Shua of Shua Cycles here. Last spring and summer, I would try to get out for longer rides during the weekends. That would usually mean leaving my house around 6 or 7 a.m. and getting back around 10 or 11, riding for a few hours, doing some sightseeing and training in between. I found that it was a good way to reset and just chill, disconnecting, maybe listening to a podcast or video essay during training, but just being out in the world, feeling what the weather was doing. Over the last year, I have needed that, with some passings in the family that have changed up the whole dynamic of my world. It seems like someone has always been in your life, until one day, they're not. The day of today's ride is Memorial Day, a day to remember those men and women who have served their country and died in the line of duty. Usually, because it's the first nice weekend of the year, most people get the day off anyway, it turns into a day to check on grave sites and make sure they look alright. My grandfather may not have died in the line of duty, but he did serve his country in the military. Last year he was laid to rest in Saco, in a beautiful graveyard. I have made the trek out there quite a few times to visit his grave spot. This was my first ride out there this year, and was also my first long ride of the season, which I found fitting. I started early in the morning, leaving my house at 6 a.m., heading east. Not really, I just followed where the GPS told me to go. But Saco is close to the ocean, so it sounded right. It was a hard ride, filled with smooth, quiet back roads and hardly any traffic. I passed by dilapidated basketball hoops, a scene of which looked like a shootout, and had to go through a brutal downhill. I've come to the conclusion anyone who isn't a fan of downhills can't be trusted. I ventured for minutes and minutes, losing hope before. I finally made it to Saco. After getting past the on-ramps for the highway and getting nice shots of the highway, I saw what I thought was a protected bike lane. But alas, it was just painted bike lanes. Oh well. After crossing one last intersection and pedaling... Oh wait, I was on my e-bike. I kid. I did a lot of pedaling actually. Due to the long trip and my fear of killing one battery before the trip was even halfway over, I conserved and tried to pedal as much as I could. Since it was my first long trip, I wanted to have a bike that would help carry me home if I got too tired because I'm a big baby cyclist. We finally arrived at the cemetery. I paid my respects and caught up with my grandfather over some delicious watermelon. Let's go, Chastain. I rode around the cemetery for a bit, definitely not because I was lost. The water was actually beautiful, and the birds were constantly singing, as they always seem to be in my videos. Down by the water, I almost thought I caught a whiff of my grandfather's cologne. Kind of weird. On to one of the coolest paths I've found since biking in Maine, the Eastern Trail. Let's see, I knew the Eastern Trail existed, just wasn't sure how far it went and to where. While I'm still not 100% sure, I know for a fact that it gets me from Saco to Scarborough in a rather short period of time. Apparently not short enough to keep my GoPro battery from dying.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a dual battery swap. I'm going to pull over, we're going to swap batteries in both, and then we're going to continue like nothing ever happened.
No joke, I literally pulled over to switch my batteries. The old one was dead, and the new one, I thought I had charged it all night, but it was also dead. Jeez. Hey, at least I got enough footage of the trail before it did die. The Eastern Trail is a piece of Maine bike infrastructure that should be used as a template all over the state. Imagine if the telephone conveyance lines by my house, imagine if there was just a path that literally led into the center of town and back, and I only had to cross 2 roads to get back and forth. It's literally peak cycling infrastructure. Obviously, some of the highlights included dogs, a kid who has a more successful YouTube channel than me, and this walker who has finally redeemed me for all my bad left-hand passes. She turned around and thanked me.
On your left? That's not a problem.
The Eastern Trail has so many connections to communities and ways to get around in Saco, Old Orchard, and Scarborough. Not only that, but it puts you out in nature. While you get dropped into some car-centric infrastructure, the Eastern Trail, or ET as some of the signs call it, also shows you the infrastructure that used to run our state. Trains. If I'm not mistaken, I believe some of the trail is actually based on train tracks. The Eastern Trail has paved sections, sandy sections, and bridges that cross over big roadways. I was excited to see all the people out walking and biking, even if this kid is still trying to steal my thunder. At least I know that he didn't have any awkward situations with this guy riding a BMX or kid's bike. I couldn't really tell.
Pretty good. Yourself.
If you ever make the venture to southern Maine, I highly suggest taking a day and just exploring the Eastern Trail. It is an experience you will not regret. If you enjoy this content or more bloggy content, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. I appreciate your support because, as I said here today,
I don't even really care that much about saving the planet. I just like bikes. I mean, I guess I worded that wrong.
This has been Shua Cycles. Get out there and ride.